Good morning, everybody. Moving forward on another middle ground. How is everybody today? Oh, are you guys ever going to stop messing with my line? Whatever you nutty goofball hackers. Anyway, how is everybody this morning? I'm steadily getting more and more work done every day, and not only personally and of course in business like I always talk about, but now here is another wave of moving forward with legally. So what started out as something to worry about, I made my last petition before 9 a.m. and now when it comes to the state, I want to share what I can have closure on now, which is what I would like to share my closure on what is happening with the state argument and what was missing. Because, and I don't take any group side, I take what I believe is fair as a voice of the public because I'm affected by all this personally, and I have my own story like everyone has theirs. So I see what I feel is missing from this argument, which will bring closure for me as well, is that when it comes to transgender rights, at least in the state of Missouri, I feel that when it comes to transgender rights in Missouri, in order to make things fair and to not have people who are transgender targeted, especially along with protecting kids, there has to always be a fair balance. So the one part of the argument I did not see debated enough is that at what age is decided in school that any rules might apply. And well, in order to take bigotry out of the law, in order to keep bigotry out of the law, it must be physical and factual and medical. So in turn, puberty starts average between 9 to 14 in a child. Therefore, any restrictions as far as sports, because the only issue are people who are born assigned male at birth who would be playing sports with cisgender girls, and it's not personal. The debate in court is about the only issue anybody has, which gets people targeted, is the fear of people who are assigned male at birth playing sports with cisgender women or natural born women, if that's fair to say. I don't like using all these terms. I'm still confused myself as much as I see things clearly. Anyway, that's why this is so important for me. So when it comes down to it, I don't see why, as long as there's no sexual connotation whatsoever, as long as in schools, as long as there's no sexual connotation whatsoever, why can't boys and girls, transgender kids, play sports in any way, shape, or form until puberty is started? And then at that point, is it only about certain sports when it comes to beyond the need for scholarships? But that's where scientifically it's fair to separate and make decisions versus it being about someone's identity. This takes the bigotry out of the law, and I think in schools, if the line is there for high school, then at least there's some type of fair balance to go off of. And this protects everyone LGBTQIA+, every bit as much as those who are traditionally valued into what some refer to as cisgender. If that's the fairest way to put it, I feel that it is. And it helps me as well. So if this can be done, then I feel this protects especially those in the adult world all the way around to a degree from being able to not be targeted, because in the end, if parents are not confused and if everyone feels protected, then there's just less reason for bigotry out of fear. And that's what has always been systemic, whether it's racism or sexual identity or any of these things. And at least more and more people are just steadily coming together in the middle. And so this is not some type of activism, even though some of this blurs into the language of it. In the end, it's personal because this is what I've struggled with. So the second part of this is on a personal level because of my experience, not speaking for anyone else, but in my experience, I truly feel and believe that along with talking to others, in my opinion, I don't believe anyone should be funded to transition under 18. I think people should be able to identify and be who they are, and then if only reason why I feel this is legally fair and why this protects transgender people and why this is not hypocritical is because even though everybody has the right to be who they are, identify who they are. For instance, I identify as non-binary. It doesn't matter who agrees with me, I can identify, and that's not a joke or a game, and I feel so much better doing this. But aside from that, okay, aside from myself, one thing that is scientifically proven that is outside of the bigotry scope, so take the culturalism out of it, well, scientifically, in order to transition a person, if I want to transition, I have to take a substance that is foreign to my body. So even though I support everybody to have the right to do that, I feel that, especially with what I went through, whether I knew it or not, of course I didn't know, and had I been given the chance to know, I still want to be able to look back and as a kid say, well, I should be able to express my gender identity without being sexualized as a kid. And that's the one thing I want to protect the most of because of my exposure to certain things as a kid. So I want to protect all kids from that in the future. And this, I truly believe in this. I want to make this my last live on this, but I feel that if we can take this articulate situation where it doesn't matter what kids do up until puberty, and then at that point in high school, there can be the ability to decide what classifications work for what sports, and it's done based off of science versus identity, then the law is protecting everyone. And transgender people have the right just as much as those who are non have the right. Everybody has rights. So if I look out for traditional people with traditional values, then they have a reason to look out for me and anyone else out there who is queer and transgender. I came out, I'm learning, I'm identifying, and I'm doing the best I can as an adult. So in order to make these statements and do what I do, I have to say these things and give back because it does directly involve me. I'm not just out here. And my goal is not to cause any issues for LGBTQIA. Of course I love the movement, but I'm not here to just join a voice. I'm here to say what is true and correct, and if it makes people uncomfortable, so be it. But there's no way to get to the truth in a reality without a balance, and otherwise there's just complete and total disregard of human rights. There's just discrimination if there's no agreements. There's just one side taking over another, and it's one thing to have the debate and the argument. So these arguments need to stay strong. So I really applaud both sides of the argument for standing on their values, whether I agree or disagree. And I'm steadily loving the fact that majority of people are still coming to a generalized conclusion of who people are. And the fear factor of labeling one's culture is steadily going away, especially with technology and all of us interacting, and the reality of our human behavior is coming out more and more. And that is helping the law fix what is systemic, and in the end, this is what helps lawmakers. And even though that everybody has a right to their voice, with what I had seen in this argument, I see now also what people are saying in the background when they say that emotions play into things too much. So we have to be emotional. I'm one to stand by and say, well, we need to be emotional, we need to be human. We can't forget the human aspect, but I also see what the opposite side of that argument is as well. And there's a point where, am I emotionally arguing my point, or am I still bringing value to the point? And I mean this respectfully, so I can't think of any other value than to close out once again with, up until puberty, all kids should be able to play and identify however. And that's the first part. The second part, this is personal, and I probably will not be liked too much by LGBTQIA by this, but if I don't say what is forward, then I hope I will gain your respect actually by this, and more acceptance, since I'm still learning. And that is when it comes to the drag shows. Well, I think there's two things that are being very misconstrued. Number one, I feel that drag shows should be adult events, and it promotes industry. And I'm grinning a little bit on that because I think a lot of people in the LGBTQIA movement are missing this fact, because there's a lot of people out of work all at the same time, and it gives the LGBTQIA movement a really bad name. So in order to really keep things flourishing, to be honest, if these shows are in clubs, if they're in adult establishments, And the fines and that we could talk about in a minute, because all that's too far. Everything's gone too far. But if it can be inside establishments, well, this promotes industry, it promotes people working, and it promotes those who care about the LGBTQIA movement and the true drag shows to be regulated by people of the transgender community. It doesn't need to be regulated by government. So when there's shows and people, when there is some type of commerce happening, even if it's a free show, if there's some type of commerce happening involved with it, this allows people to come in and make sure that the environment's going to be correct for the public. And that gives the LGBTQIA movement a very, very strong stance to be supported by all states in this factor. So that's why I really want to take that approach. Plus, I believe this protects people who are gay, queer, and transgender, because this gives traditional people who don't believe in this side of life at all a chance to see that, hey, you know, there's people here who care about life and moving forward. It's not just about being open about their identity. And number two, the reason why I'm saying it that way is I want to get rid of the stigma. The stigma of what it means to be queer and transgender, right? So I'm still learning. To some, I'm considered maybe an egg, but I'm not transitioning, so I guess I'm not an egg. All respect to eggs, but I'm still new to learning everything, even though I've been dealing with it my whole life. So in turn with this, I feel that I have never been comfortable with the expression of the sexual side of it. I want to be loose in these terms. I want to get rugged here. But that's where I think the issue is in the way it's displayed. I have yet to see anyone in general, like with the public, related to the transgender community, not sexualized. And I want to see that because it's not stripping away someone's identity. I want to see that side of it, so that way it's proven to society what it means to be adult and not at certain times, and it proves to those who do not understand what it really means to be a part of the community, or what it means to be queer, transgender. It gives those who just don't understand a sense that there is a moral compass within the transgender community, and everyone doesn't have to express themselves sexually as much as we can express our gender and who we are. So the reason why I'm saying this is the last part of the issue, and it goes back to the schools. And this is where now, take queer and transgender out of the equation for a moment, go to arts and entertainment, because this is the final equation. I truly believe the final problem, this is something that I grew up with, and I want to go back to the music scene of the 90s for a second, all the way up to now. A lot of people, adults, who are rightfully concerned, because as someone who has been in radio, who I talk about all the stuff I've done, even though it doesn't matter to anybody, my point is that I have enough professional experience to know that in what I'm seeing, outside of what's queer and transgender, there are, for cisgender kids, look at all the provocative material that is in schools that is meant for adults, and somehow it gets marketed to kids. This is the age-old problem. So it gets blurred into what's happening with the transgender movement, and it's also hurting transgender kids from being able to express themselves. So that's why I'm trying to take the stigma of, you know, not everything has to be sexualized with transgender people, just like I don't know how else to compare it other than the older issue, which is steadily going away, which is better, which is racism. We're hearing so much less about racism now. So to not refuel it, but for instance, I borrow from that to understand, and it doesn't fully compare, but on the mechanic level, not the moral level, but or the issue level, just to be fair, but on the mechanic level, there's certain cultures that we know that if we attach certain foods and styles to, if we talk about them, well, like for instance, as a white American, I don't realize that it's systemic and that I can offend people. So I can't talk about certain foods and cultures together without having a real point to a story. Otherwise, I'm being systemically racist and I don't know it. So well, that is happening, of course, all at the same time with queer and transgender people. So how is it that in schools, I feel that if there's not a dance, now I'm an artistic person, so this is not hypocritical. When it comes to schools, a school is a place of education. And I really thrived in school, especially in college. I didn't do very well in high school and grade school in some areas because of the whole anti-culture cultural times, especially growing up in the late 80s, early in the 90s. It was a very, very, very tough cultural time underneath it all, and hidden. So in this time, well, I'm sorry, because it strikes a nerve. I love college. I love education. And when it comes to especially grade school, high school, why is it, and this is where I want the LGBTQIA movement to just be open-minded for a second, because this is not hypocritical. I feel it will be taken this way. So without taking anything away from the movement, because believe me, I'm for everything you're out there in the streets for and talking about. I really, really am. I truly, truly am, okay? I am. I mean it. So, what I have yet to see in the education system, those who are displaying themselves in the adult realm, supporting transgender people with a business casual front that does not take away from identity. Whether it's professional. It's not sexualized, it's professional. And there's a professional way of doing entertainment, but entertainment is outside of the scope of education. It actually really is, because anyone who understands true artistry, or at least I should know what I'm talking about. I love to use a statement like that. So for instance, when I studied with Bertram Ward, I love Mr. Ward, who's passed now, who studied under Aaron Copland. He was very adamant with me about how much I was an entertainer and not a musician, because a musician is a skilled person who recreates music. I'm more of an artist who makes my own music. So I needed to really go my own direction, and he met that respectfully, and that's why I got into radio. And then he came and supported me when I won, leaving his class, which people were blown away by that. That doesn't make me special. Point being is, he always taught us, as we would rip the Circle of the Fifths out of our books, he always taught us that music is a science, and we rely on science. Just like in that class, I'm really learning a science of the art with writing music and the way it's composed and put together. But all these things are a science. Well, the same for drag shows, with all due respect. There's a science to how it's done, and there's an education on how to put a show, how to properly be a part of the scene. There's a certain way to do makeup and dress, because that's how the culture is. And there's just a way to do things, like anything that's done right. I don't know how to do it correctly. The queens that are out there are amazing, the work that they do. It's incredible, the work that they do. I applaud them. I think they're incredible, beyond artistic. A lot of them are very intelligent people who are very talented. So I want to take this stigma away, because it's the over-sexualization that's causing the hate. And if that can be in the clubs, well, that protects the industry, it protects LGBTQIA, and it protects kids, especially transgender kids, because just like with racism, with all due respect, when it comes to bigotry, kids need to be able to identify as transgender and not have a finger pointed at them at their sexual identity. Because if I'm transgender, do I have to dance? Do I have to do burlesque? No, I support it personally, but do I have to do that? Can I not be transgender and be a lawyer and still express myself as a transgender person, or be in a business setting and not have these things talked about? Because in the business world, in the real world, as we call it, making money, is it up to me to talk about my sexual identity at work? No, it's not. It's not my place or anybody else's. So it doesn't matter if I'm straight, trans, gay, whatever connotation I put on anything, however I choose to identify non-binary, it's not my place to talk about that at work. So I don't wear my mascara at work because I rub my eyes, I sweat, so I'm an idiot if I wear makeup at work. But realistically, can I? Yes. I just don't, because I'm working hard. It has nothing to do with hiding who I am. I'm not going to sweat with much of makeup on. That's stupid. And besides, the women I've worked with, I actually, with all due respect, and I want to say that, yes, from working with women, that's who I look to for ideas for makeup. And with all due respect, I think this is so respectful what I'm saying, but I feel like I have to say it because of people's feelings, and I can be a little abrasive, but it's because I want people to get past it. I want this to get normalized so we can all move past it, because there are moral people and there are not. And our identities have nothing to do with that. So, and for those out there, especially LGBTQIA, I don't want any of you upset with me thinking I'm just bouncing back and forth in the dark. That's also why I'm making this last live. Thank you so much, Facebook, for keeping it here. Thank you for not disrupting it. I hope this is making more and more sense. And I hope the state considers what I said here. And I hope that everybody takes more and more into it. And if I'm missing anything, please counter with a statement, a post, be public about it. Let's be heartfelt. Let's be human beings. I'm here personally. I'm not paid. I'm not representing a group. I am really truly here because I am personally affected, and I want to bring value and see change happen the right way, which is really giving value and solutions and hoping all the rest of you improve on them, not just stating how things should be just from my perspective. And with this perspective, I not only hope to gain more respect from all sides, but I hope that this can help create another model that solidifies the past into recycling what has been happening, so everybody is more protected, more accepting, and then we can continue to move forward and really deal with the real issues, which is our planet having enough utilities and the ability for everyone to make a good living. I love all of you, and thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day. Hey, in this last live tonight, I want to talk about minting smart contracts. It's real important. Now, this is something where I really hope Facebook listens, and I want to give something to Facebook really big and meta. Anytime I say something important, trying to reconnect, I really want to give back to Meta here, because when it comes to minting smart contracts, am I going to come up with my own code, or Facebook? Just like being a platform provider and a stream provider, am I going to be able to mint through you, just like any other platform? If I mint a product, are you not giving me incentive to stay with Facebook? I'm here with you first. You gave me a chance. Trying to reconnect. Oh, is that a bad thing to say? Well, I think it's fair, by the way. I believe in good business. So Facebook, you gave me the right business first, so I'm giving back to you first. That's not nepotism. That's loyalty, and that's fair. There's nothing wrong with loyalty and capitalism, because we are following the law and caring about the consumer here. This is exactly what the government wanted with the law we just talked about. So Facebook, trying to reconnect. When it comes to minting the smart contract, when I need to mint my masters, I can either develop my own code or I can mint to someone else's platform. Right now it's open, thus OpenSea, Ethereum, Coinbase wallets. I love Coinbase. I love the whole ideology, and I love all these platforms. Right now I need to mint to every single platform. Trying to reconnect. I have to mint to every single platform. Now, so far, I've only had one chance to go to Chamber of Commerce, and I haven't been able to even get close enough to anyone to try to even have this type of discussion. I had no idea it's already been 10 months into the law allowing this to happen, which is great. But either way, that's where it's at now. And for instance, I keep thinking, should the editing software, trying to reconnect, should the editing software companies be the one to come up with the ability to smart contract when I put out a master? And can I have my code that way? I keep thinking that's the only way. Or do I smart contract to you, Facebook, and Twitter, Twitch, Google, YouTube? Wouldn't everybody... Now is that the way it's going to go? Which way is it going to go? Is there going to be a universal standard with that? I'm sure all of you have said these same questions, but you need more people to chime in and talk about it. And I'm supporting this. This is what I want to see. And I know this is going to help you and help everybody else too. So when it comes to the smart contract, it's very, very important to turn anything into something tangible when it comes to the digital world. And tangibility protects creative works. It protects copyright. It protects investment. And So I have yet to see enough information about the minting other than it just being kept in private circles. But it really takes the public being aware. It takes the public being aware of these types of options to give the right feedback. Otherwise, we're back to the age-old problem in Washington, which is limited lobbied data forcing laws to be screwed up in the first place. Isn't that what we're really here to stop? Thank you so much. Trying to reconnect. I'm going to keep winning, whoever keeps disrupting. So the smart contract. Good to see you there. The biggest point of this live is right now, the question is, do I fight to make my own code? Do I beg the production companies like Premiere and Avid and Pro Tools to make the ability to smart contract every master I make? Or Facebook, trying to reconnect. Are you going to give me the ability to upload a smart contract? And will I be able to smart contract per platform? And as long as we are using an acceptable form of crypto to exchange it to with the Fed, thank you, Secretary Yellen, then we are following antitrust laws. Once again, we can do this unregulated by the government because we're following antitrust laws. So that means everybody should be able to push their own coding, their own mint coding, much more effectively. If I produce my own material, well, I can't mint it right now as a master on a master production, so I have to go to someone, somewhere, OpenSea, Ethereum. I have to have an accepted wallet in Coinbase to be able to mint it to and to be able to cash exchange it. Otherwise, I'm in a position where I could be legally bound, which is a good thing because as long as I need to follow laws. So by following the laws, trying to reconnect here. Sorry, it gets me going a little bit when I get disrupted, but whatever entity is doing this, it's slowing down more and more and more as I keep winning. So I love you all for being out here. And the one thing is for sure, I don't care how bad anything works against me, I'm not going to throw people under the bus, and I'm not going to engage in any crazy private club's ability to control people and all this stupid stuff. No. I'm standing for what is right, period. And so as an independent, I have to thank the government for doing what I asked for. And it's a good thing. So right now the government, for those who are watching, hope you hear this next part if you didn't hear anything else. Thanks to the Journalism Competition Preservation Act of 2022, right now, for those watching, the government is allowing us to come together and construct, not conspire, construct, what used to be called conspiring, construct the ability to make business happen with social media platforms and it be newsworthy as independents. And as long as we follow the antitrust laws in our formulation, then we're able to do so. As long as we have diversity and inclusion in our laws that keep happening, then the bots can be deployed by the platforms, not the government, the platforms. So for instance, Facebook is able to deploy bots, just like Twitter and everybody else, because with diversity and inclusion, they can watch our behaviors without affecting our rights. So with our behaviors mapped by bots, as long as there's not a crime, it's not flagged to a human. We're protected, we're not discriminated against. So that means if we do anything that's conspiring whatsoever, well then the platforms can deploy bots. So if any of us on the independent level are spreading false news or false media or any of these things, well, the behaviors, just like Menzara, the behaviors will be mapped. We are protected because those of us who care, especially when it comes to real information, we do follow liabilities and we care about what we say to people and what our sources are. The rest of us who are making entertainment and art, we're very forward that it's entertainment and art. We're not poisoning people's minds. They know it's entertainment. We're not lying to people and acting like it's a true story when it's not, like some conglomerates have liked to do systemically for years. I'll quit using that word, but you know what I mean. So now, that's why these disruptions happen. But I know that there's plenty of good bots out there. So as it keeps working, The question is the minting. I could be minting through the OpenSea. I love these avenues. However, as a business, if you come to me, TJX Productions, and I help you produce something, you don't want me to use a third party. You want me to deliver everything I'm making for you, just like if I have a restaurant and multimedia production is the food that I'm serving, you want me to serve you the food from my kitchen. You expect me to order the food, cook it there, one chef. Well, that's where we're at with the minting right now. And right now is the biggest time to push to make sure that it's to push on how it's going to be done. And so right now it's multiple platforms everywhere, with at least now, thank you Secretary Yellen for thank you Secretary Yellen for giving the Fed the proper tools necessary for the things that I'm asking for to work. And now I just want an accountable platform to smart code to without having to write the code myself. I feel if I write the code myself, I'm just going to be taken out by a bigger conglomerate who can afford a lot more than me. I feel that just like every single industry that started, it starts out independent, it's a free-for-all, it's pretty cool, and then it has to be invested in or it dies, because that's just life. And we don't like that, or at least I'm assuming I don't like that. I'm assuming everybody else feels the same. It's just a cycle. So in order to make this happen, I'm sitting here saying, well, you know what? I don't know code. I can figure out the basics. I can teach myself overnight one proprietary thing. That's fine. But I truly believe that Facebook and the other platforms, just like the ability to stream and do paid services with qualifying for the ability to do it with the channel, I don't need to pay the provider, the actual ISP provider to stream. I can do it through these platforms already. And then I'm using the security protocols that they have, which is better than mine. So for any of you out there watching, this benefits you just like it benefits me. And then we're already on a connected platform. Now, of course, with the new laws in place, we're all small entities, so nobody can stop us from doing anything. As far as the big entities conspiring, the only way the big entities can ruin the JCPA 2022 Act is if for somehow the platforms are not allowed to deploy their own bots to detect the behavior, and these are independent companies. This is why I fight for Facebook and Twitter and all these other companies. They're American companies. They're independent companies. They're not government run. That's the whole point. Same as my company. Same as all of you out there. We are not government run. We help shape the government in this free country, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. Not hijacking, not acting gangster, not hijacking everything. That's for the movies. That's for having fun and playing games. In reality, we got to have these systems in place without being controlled by it. So obviously, in a free market capitalist society, if I come up with my own code to mint, it's only a matter of time before any platform or any software maker for that matter is going to provide that option. So I want to make this video now here because I'm at the end of the road of everything else that I have. I have one encoder and camera I need to have talk to each other, and that's it. I have all of my new tactics in place, and I can go through the walls in a way I wasn't able to do before in a very inexpensive way, and that's very, very big deal for me. And I'm able to do this without breaking any rules. It's really incredible, and I'm really adhering even to FCC by doing this. It's just incredible. So that means the more successful I am, the more it shows the law that it can be done this way, and it protects independence and honest businesses even more. And then it really protects the social media companies, because they have to fight for their own bread and butter. That's fair. So now I get to be another person out here to eliminate that loophole gap, so they don't come down on me or you having to fight for the things they have to fight for legally the way it is. right? The lawyers of Facebook are going to have to advise Facebook to fight for certain things. That means they're going to have to be against me and you and others on certain things legally. And some of them, I'm sure deep down, they're hoping it gets shot down because they know it takes the opposition of the public and the independent private sector, the consumer market, to make this happen so the senators can continue the proper debates without it spinning. So they can continue the proper debates without it spinning and going nowhere. All of this has to do with smart contract minting. And all of this affects all of us in the 21st century of working, because Web 3, beyond it being inevitable, we all need more money and outlets to survive without taking advantage. So that means we need to open more markets. And with mapping and bots, once again, with mapping and bots that are deployed by independent sectors, with everybody following antitrust, there's our layer. There's different groups and sectors of bots that are built in certain ways. It's not government bots or rogue bots or terror bots. Those all get destroyed by the bots that the companies deploy, especially when the government gives them the advantage to do it, which has always been there. Everybody can protect themselves. But do we talk about it enough? And there's too much news and rhetoric out here against these things in the wrong direction. Too many people are thinking so gangster and out of their mind, and it's because they are not studying the law. They're acting like kids, and I'm sorry. I'm being very forward about that. I can't believe how ridiculous a lot of people are about the laws. So, for instance, there's no way, for instance, the JCPA of 2022, I love the fact that, for example, Secretary Pompeo came up with the greatest argument for this. And I've been critical of him many, many times over and always will be when it comes to certain things. But I don't know the man, and I don't care. If he's going to say something good, great, because in the end, he loves America and he loves our security. So it doesn't matter what we disagree with, right? So when it comes to this bill, and it comes to China, I love the fact that this is going to allow China, just like the U.S., it's going to allow us to give news stories to each other. And Mr. Pompeo, I'm so glad he said what he said, because this is what the government needs to work with the hackers, the good hackers that work in the social media platforms, to be able to deploy mapping and bots. Even the Chinese government can do this, and as they map and bot and control everybody, this can actually work for the people's favor and help their government ease up without having a conflict. That's a big deal. This gives us a chance to start really putting our independent sectors together on sharing ideas. We don't have to encroach on this doesn't encroach on our economies. It bridges our economies. It gives us shared interests. And as long as we have diversity and inclusion here in our laws, keep moving forward, it's not tearing things down. It's building up our security, because we can use bots and mapping to control Chinese media, just like the Chinese can do it to label our media. But in the end, if we allow each other through, the behaviors can be mapped, and we know who has good human intention over bad. That's a behavioral thing. And with diversity and inclusion, there's no way to use discrimination. So where the government's where some have been relying on trying to get the government to hurt the people for their own interests, see, that can't be done anymore with the way the law is being gone about. That's why I'm fighting for some of these things. I'm not out here just being crazy. I'm out here fighting for the things that drive me crazy. I'm fighting against what drives me crazy because it hurts us. It hurts our industry, it hurts our country, it hurts our laws, it hurts the world. So all of this has to do with smart contract minting. It was blockchain money, illegal blockchain money, that almost convinced a bunch of Americans to drain their bank account. Remember that. A lot of people wanted to go to decentralized money overnight. But now it can happen, because we already see the blockchain being formed in other nations that support, especially anti-American and NATO countries. Sorry to be political for a second, but the blockchain that's happening, that's not accepted by the Fed, that's why the World Bank must survive. They have to rely on the Silk Road and a bunch of malls. They have to rely on malls and shopping and numbers. They have a consumerism line set up. This is why I fought for the Burn campaign, because economically, if America gets labeled as a terrorist state to the world, which we're not, but if the deep fakes and all the falsehoods were to prove us as that, we would have went out of style like Adidas. I love you, Adidas, but I hate to be funny, but I want to make sense to people. We went out of style. We would go out of style. The whole world would hate us, blah, blah, blah. And that's where we would lose our money. Right there to blockchain. So I fought to crash it in the beginning. Not to crash it and particularly crash it. I fought for it to not hurt the dollar, and it did crash it. So many people turned against me on it. That's okay. None of them are rich off a blockchain, and they're just following the conspiracy paths. So sorry, that had to be the rabbit for that reason. So now, here we are. Here we are. The dollar's protected. It's performing better than ever. NATO is stronger than ever. So that means thank you, Secretary Yellen and the Fed. And now thank you, Amy Klobuchar and Senator Kennedy. We have the ability now to finally put crypto back in place the way it is. We can decide how it needs to work amongst all of us as companies, as smaller businesses and companies and independents, whether we're corporate or artists or entertainers or whatever. We now have the ability to come up with our own standards, and the big conglomerates cannot lobby us out. We have the right to get together, and as long as we follow antitrust, we can come up with things that make sense. We have social media. Be open. If you're independent, if you're an independent business, an artist, whatever, be open about what you want. Be open. Make posts. Have a voice. The algorithm, the collective will pick you up. The government has to listen. They put it into law. It's wonderful. So I have to wait a little more on the smart contracting end, I feel. See, if I would have come up with my code already, I would have already been taken out of business. If I would be out here just selling this whole time, I would be selling an old model that's steadily failing. I didn't hold on to my name. I didn't hold on to the name TJX Productions to hold on to a failing business I'm going to struggle to barely ever pay for and make ends meet with, because it's constantly a failing model. The old models are failing, and that's what's hacking me. The old models. It's not the government. I started at the top and went down. I went the other way to the decimal point. For those who don't know, what that means is I couldn't figure out who was attacking me. I couldn't figure out the people in the dark. I couldn't figure out the hackers, right? Because you can't. I can't. It's round robin hot potato all day long. But I decided if they're getting frustrated enough, you know what? What if I just turn around and go the other way? What if I just, instead of starting at the bottom and going to the top on this issue, what if I work my way from the top down? What if I approach it from another universe in my mind? What if I use my mind and not technology and lawyers and other people and expect everybody to do it for me? What if I actually find a way? Well, the law is the law. The law is the law. Keep disrupting my channel, hackers. You're not going to stop Facebook. You're not going to stop me. You're not going to stop the government. You're not going to stop independence. You're not going to stop the technology. You're not going to destroy our dollar. See, there is a new cryptocurrency happening, and it's being pushed onto autocratic nations to take out our dollar. For all I know, it could be people here making it look like them, playing hot potato. That's how bad. That's how bad everything trying to reconnect. That's how bad. So many people have told me to keep my mouth shut, and I've done nothing but tell the truth. And I'm not in the government. I haven't leaked a single story. I haven't leaked anybody's proprietary information, nothing. So what are they doing? Running around lying. Lying, 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 lying. And I have the law on my side. I'll keep changing it. I'll keep pushing for it. So now my only concern is, now that the dollar is saved, this next step that the government has done, luckily, they're already 10 months in. I love working on stacks. See, the things I did a long time ago, they're already addressing it, and now it's already ready for me. I'm rebuilding my Google channel. This is great. All of the copyright infringements I would have taken on from when I was able to upload before it was enforceable. I mean, I'm talking pre-2018, so I would have had a lot of hits and it would have taken my channel down anyway. Now I get to re-upload everything, which I have years of uploading. It's going to re-establish me very quickly and not only secure my footprint even further, but I'm going to have I have real-time data and feedback to where the copyright laws are per how I'm uploading, and I can decide what I want to dispute. And now I have the right to produce and own everything that I have, especially for those who haven't paid me anything. But that doesn't mean I have the right to publish it. So I'm still publishing with the respect of those who I know would allow me to publish in any area that's being challenged, even though I could technically challenge it and dispute it. Like, for instance, I had the right to completely videotape and produce Barbara Carr. Now, do I have the right to publish it? Kinda. There's no opposition. We all had the right to do this deal, but it was a long time ago. So, even though the laws are the same, they were not enforceable in 2009 like they are now, or even thought about. Most businesses said, oh, it's smoke and mirrors, don't worry about it. And look at how many people are now all of a sudden paying the price later down the road. So, however, I let YouTube challenge me on it. Well, I had no choice. Right on the upload page, it says, 1 copyright claim. And it's not disputed. I'm actually allowed to use it. It's okay to be used. It's just flagged. Now, I went ahead and allowed the removal of that section anyway. I still have over 30 minutes of a great video. And I did that to show that here's antitrust right here. Sure, can I get away with it? Yeah. But I'm not just an individual on this channel. This is my TJX Productions channel. And I'm not a full partner yet. So that means I'm going to allow that section to be cut out. Same with Facebook. I've had kind of just really a lot of hours into the last broadcast, so as I was prepared to cut out all the things that were copyright, some things were played, or my phone's locking up as I'm able to hit the button while I'm driving my camera wirelessly and stuff like that. And there's a DJ who's agreeing not to play anything copyright infringing along with the club I'm working with, and then all of a sudden they just say, oh, we're changing the rules and we approved it. Well, you just totally ruined my cast and screwed my money over and whatever. Now, I can't say that to them, and I can, but I'm not going to. But anyway, here I am. See, I'm still on Facebook. And could I have pushed the envelope further? Yeah, but I'm not going to burn Facebook. I want Facebook to be here for me. It's not Facebook disrupting me, and I don't get disrupted on my business channels, so it's just something tying to my IP, my home network, and by the behaviors of certain individuals and platforms. You know, the rest is the most powerful note in all of music, so people who don't say anything at all at certain times, they say more than those who actually communicate. It's great. So everything is steadily revealing itself, and all of this has to do with the minting, as crazy as it sounds. Because when it comes to the noise, all the insanity, the only proof I have for everybody is that our dollar was almost destroyed over a bogus form of crypto that was going to change the world into some crazy great reset that put us all into complete global lockdown and all that stupid stuff. So now it's just about where's the smart contract minting going to go in terms of working with the US dollar. My only concern, along with not offending the world in any way, because I want to open up global business. So when it comes to China, like I was talking about with Secretary Pompeo, I'm glad he made that point. I feel that as long as China can broadcast and be who they are, just like we can, well, we're in each other's nations broadcasting news. So if we're following antitrust laws, nobody's influencing either's nation to do anything drastic or that would cause a national security issue. National security is eliminated by simply flagging whoever breaks antitrust. And if someone is causing a national issue, with provoking a national issue with their news, well, they're breaking antitrust because they're not giving news in good faith. They're seeding propaganda. And if say China, say an entity from China, because I don't want to keep saying China like it's not all one people, right? If an entity in China were to spread disinformation, say, now that gives their government a bad name, the people and everything else. So it's, once again, that will be flagged. That can be flagged, that will be flagged, it can be disputed. And then this puts China in a position to be able to be more vocal, more open, and that helps their people. So in turn, that helps the United States, because then the Chinese, who already have a lot of business at stake over here, just like we have in China, it's our shared interests that will always keep us from avoiding global catastrophe. And we see how certain leaders in other countries are trying to get the jump on that. So we already have the problem solved. It's just a question of implementing it correctly. And that's where to protect the ability for myself, you, any small independent entity, well, I need to be able to use crypto that bonds with the US dollar, that allows me to mint to any smart contract first party. So I can deliver to my clients and customers an actual product from TJX Productions that is truly my product. And it is diverse enough to work with the world, because that's my goal, is to hand it off. If I produce something for you and I want you to be able to take it without red tape and move forward with it. What if you need something in a smart contract, something I produce, and it's at a flat rate, so you can take it and make whatever you want off of it, and we agree to that at a certain point? Well, then here you go. Here's your smart contract. That means your lawyer is even further enabled to push you. Your backers are able to push you. Your investors are able to push you, because I cannot rigamaroo the law. I cannot change things later on verbal technicalities. It's smart contracted. I can't change the agreement. I can't take it back to court. Nothing. It's there. The only thing that can break a smart contract, the only thing that can legally break a smart contract, is breaking antitrust. That's it. That's why this is so important to me. My business rides on it. All of you out there are riding on the same thing. The old models aren't going to work forever. And I don't want cash to go away, because that's a security problem. So for me, once again, to wrap this up, it's very simple. Thank you, Secretary Yellen. We have the exchange. We have the exchanges. Thank you, federal government. Now we have the ability, as small conglomerates worldwide, to set standards without monopolies getting in our way. No one can monopolize it anymore. And we all have to follow the rules, even us at the bottom. That means at the bottom, we can't all conspire together to get rid of the bigger companies. Like, say, in news, for example. I should say this. What about the bigger conglomerates who are not allowed this ability to be able to set standards? Well, we shouldn't be able to all of a sudden just knock them out of business on some type of privilege. We don't need to, it's not fair to Robin Hood those who are successful. So that's why I love this whole setup. And that's why I'm pushing for a good type of perception when it comes to China and U.S. relations, especially on the journalism competition and why am I forgetting the rest of it? Preservation Act of 2022. Because in the end, I feel that if this ideology is steadily talked about, then I feel it's steadily helping the platforms untie their hands to make the correct bots, once again, the correct bots to monitor correctly because it's all consumer driven, it's independent driven, well then that should put people like Secretary Pompeo at ease, who is doing their job, because we should be able to answer these questions. We should be able to have some type of direction, so that way people like Secretary Pompeo go, okay, you're right, I'm good, I'm off your back, and you're right. So that's something that I think is great, because there's nothing better than checks and balances. Nothing better. This is, anyway, I'm so used to putting a tagline on at the end. Where to go with the smart. Okay, so I'm at the point of minting, and this is the only thing now to move forward in law. So once again, in order to push the rest of these things forward, I think to also fix the crypto problem, the smart contract issues, especially with China, the JCPA Act 2022, this law that people are worried about, this is going to give us the diversity and inclusion to be able to put news media globally from independent to the top. So we will have shared interests, and then as smart contracts, see, then globally we can all start minting. I have hyper sales events that I'm working on. Flash mob advertising. I've been trying to get this off the ground, and I can't find a group of people to work with me on it. And I need professionals who are not so caught up into right-wing conspiracies. I need people I can actually trust. So what I'm trying to do here is make it, now Twitter Spaces loves it, the conglomerates love it, and what I've been talking about for a couple of years now, solid, especially in the last couple of months, is the ability to use smart contracting, NFTs, for production. So not only is intellectual property more valuable globally for artists and patent and content creators, this also for products, but also for news media and for advertisers. It makes their stuff worth money too. And then as I do these flash mob events, I'm requiring a national artist and an international artist and a charity to be involved in every single setting. So with Fed accepted crypto, thank you Secretary Yellen for listening and everything I begged you to do. So with Fed accepted crypto exchanges, the theory is that local markets will be exposed to Web3 at all times. So whether you don't want technology at all, you could show up just physically in person and still have the initial experience. You can also show up with your AR glasses. You can show up with your AR glasses. All of the avatars are mapped. Everything is Web3 ready. If someone across the world wants to invest in what's happening, I'm not Rockefellering the situation. I have a 360 tier way of doing the business, and only on the event side am I taking a percentage because people are working and I want to pay for the event. And I'm going to allow it to where any investor can come in without any red tape at any given moment. For example, say if you're local and you come up to one of these events and you have your own business and you like what you see. Well, guess what? You're going to have the chance to throw some money in and get your commercial in the middle of that whole thing happening, and you have instant global access. So there's a reason for someone to invest even in you at that moment, along with everybody else there. All you have to do is agree to help support everybody locally at the moment. That's all. And that's the special sauce to make sure the money doesn't outsource more than it comes in. I have some systems in place for that I want to make sure. The intention has to be there. Now, nothing's perfect. Some days will be better than others, but the system has to be right. And all of this has to do with cryptocurrency and the US dollar. We almost saw that completely disrupted. We almost seen that really disrupted, and we weren't protecting the dollar at the time. It was almost siphoned out. But now the other world cryptocurrencies that are not accepted by the Fed, they cannot take over. We can't have a great reset under some one world domination ridiculousness. That can't happen with what just happened with the Fed and NATO and the regime changes. So all I have to worry about now, I say we because we're all in the same boat whether we realize it or not, is how these smart contracts are going to work. So on my end, once again, for those who just joined, there's still somebody out there still disrupting my line. This won't happen on the jobs, really. Well, it shouldn't, but and it hasn't. It just happens on my office line here in So it's tied to my IP, and it's somebody I know. I already know that I'll get it figured out the rest of the way. But these this is what they're trying to stop me from doing. They want me to be quiet. They don't want me to tell the truth. And who they are, the people behind the curtain, they can stay who they are. This is why I went the other way and why I'm working from the top down. As I keep fighting to change law and pushing for what's right, I'm forcing those who are hiding behind the curtain, who refuse to be a part of technology, especially those who want to tear all this down, to either go away or show their face. And they can't. And you know why? Because they have charges, or they believe in doing illegal things, or they want to rip off the government, which is me and you. Oh, it's working. So anyway, so last but not least, the 3 things that need to be done are: A, what is going to be the final minting choice? Am I going to have to write my own code like I am now? Are the software companies going to write the ability to make a smart contract out of a master export of when it comes to media? And interesting. I'll get back to that message, whoever that is. And last but not least, since the nature of business is production gets funded by who can afford it. I think that's very fair to say. So in my mind, if I fight and or come up with my own code to mint, how am I not going to be taken out economically and legally, right? It's not going to be an attack. Now this is just pure economics. If I write my own code to mint, I expect social media companies and software developers to come up with a much better solution. So the second I write it, it's already going to be a plugin or an add-on that I can simply just be a part of. So that's the only holdup now. So for my events that I'm talking about, this is Web3 infused with IRL. So far, every idea I've dropped on Twitter Spaces, anybody who's tried it has made a lot of money off of it. And then those who tried it made plenty of money with it. And those who broke antitrust laws are paying for it terribly. And they should. I mean, they ripped people off. So, okay, whatever. They ripped people off. That I'm not concerned. No one else should be. I can't wait to see those people get out of the way. There's so many people mouse-wheeling investments in these companies, and they're siphoning these companies dry, and they're beating us up. They're beating us up, the consumers, especially the small businesses, because poo-poo rolls downhill. So all of this, our whole world was practically flipped upside down over it. It's all tied to hacking, all the craziness, smart contracts. Because where is the money going to go? Now that the dollar is protected, what are my options going to be, conglomerates? And I'm asking the platforms, are you going to give me a better, trying to reconnect, this is good. Are you going to give me a better option for minting so I can push these practices forward and push the economy forward? Are you going to give me an option? I don't have a minting option on export for media to create a master file. I do not have the ability to turn the dollar into a U.S. crypto. I've been begging for a U.S. crypto, and this is the last part since I'm still here and while you guys are watching. And there's 2 ways to go about it. The wrong way and the right way. The wrong way is where we all fall to hell, so to speak, and we don't regulate anything, and then a new form of technology takes out our dollar, and no amount of going back to gold. Blockchain is gold. Blockchain is digital gold. Gold bars can't even compete. It really can't. It's a commodity that's limited physically. So, as much as I love the idea of the gold standard, I don't like depressions and I don't like wars. And I definitely don't like losing business unnecessarily. So that means I've been begging for a U.S. crypto dollar because personally, I don't want another form of crypto. Now, technically, this is where the big problem is. technically with a US crypto dollar, that means I have to upload, that means I have to share and upload and go through the government to mint a smart contract because I'm minting a US dollar to my intellectual property or yours. If I'm producing for you, I want to make it tangible for you, right? So it has value. Even if it's a personal, private, even if it's a family video, I want to make it worth something so you can pass it on through generations, and that's the authentic copy. That's the stamped, minted copy. It's legit. It's like a piece of gold. It's like a piece of gold. That's the whole point of the smart contract. Even if it's a kid's video, your kid has a birthday, I come do a video for you. I still should be able to make that into a smart contract. Why can't I protect it by US crypto dollar? Why can't I make it as protected as the dollar? No reason that shouldn't happen. But how do we stop the government from having this control? Well, I don't want to stop the government, but we don't want the government to institute socialism. That's always the big issue, right? It has to be done by a private company. Even unions work for private companies at the end of it. There's a point. So I feel that this is the biggest crossroad because, okay, if I make my own code and mint into a crypto, well, I'm essentially going against the US dollar even though I'm fighting for US crypto. Now we have the exchange. There's a bridge, but that's a band-aid. So I don't know where to go now. Obviously, I don't have the, I don't know, I can't force where to go. I don't have the money and the ability. So all I can do while I'm rambling and you're still watching, I love you all, is I hope maybe this is setting off some light bulbs and all of you can chime in and come up with ideas. Because that's really what it is. I put this out here because I don't expect people to really care about what I'm saying. Well, obviously you do here, and thank you so much. I love you. But I hope the world just listens, and my words will be picked up by the collective. So anybody else talking the same things, it will add to that. It will add to what's necessary. See, I got disrupted when it was important. Oh, that's awesome. So I come up with a smart contract, my own smart contract. I do something for you. Now I can make it equivocable. I'm surprised I'm stuttering words. Equivocable on to the US dollar. I can give it a value. And with it being in crypto, it can be sold or traded anywhere in the world, and then it can be traded anywhere in the world and instantly flipped into a respective currency with the taxes paid on the withdrawal, just like when we withdraw from accounts that we have 401ks in and savings and money markets. I begged the government to model it to that. They did exactly that, which they were going to do anyway, because I'm only following the law anyway. It's not like they don't know what I'm saying to them. I'm just saying the things that the public need to say because they can't fix it. The government can't just fix things. We're not a communist country. We have to fix it. I hope this helps shed some light on the smart contract and what I'm really fighting for here. And I hope this now, even with my channel being disrupted, I hope all of you start to see that I'm not crazy. I'm driven crazy. And I'm crazy about being successful in the things that I love, of course. And a lot of you are all driven crazy in the same way, and there's no reason to be. The only thing crazy is what is crazy. And what is crazy is what doesn't work. Or what has been traditionally been locking a lot of people out from committing fair business from bad lobbying. And thank you, government, you destroyed the ability for lobbyists to keep us down. And if they want to complain because they can't break antitrust rules, then great. Great. That means the only leg to stand on is where Mr. Pompeo is. And I appreciate Secretary Lee for having a great, Senator Lee for having a great rebuttal at least. I appreciate that. But I stand by Senator Klobuchar 1,000-fold, and Senator Kennedy, you guys are doing wonderful. And once again, Secretary Pompeo has the only true, valid argument. True, valid argument. And the answer to that has already been met. It's just a matter of more bots being deployed by independent platforms to counteract terror bots, so they're not deployed by the government. That's why I'm fighting for these platforms. because as long as we have independent businesses following the law, working with the law, then we have our rights intact, and we have the protections that we need for those of us who are being honest and true, who don't deserve to be attacked by the dark web and the terrorists and the bad code and all this craziness. Because that's what it really comes down to. And we have to protect the money to protect the ability for the government to protect us, especially the platforms. So I hope this shines a lot of light. Oh, I wasn't interrupted until then, because what am I going to do with the mint? I'm going to have to pause, obviously, and see if the software developers first give me an option, and then what are the platforms going to do? Because right now it's every single crypto per platform. Now that follows the model I did ask for, because I said like carnival tickets, like funny money in a sense, store money, the whatever bucks, right? It works for just that place, that world you're in. If I go to a supermarket, a super center, I'm trying not to use names here, and I have their points or their money, that's their form of crypto, really, especially if it's on, say, a gift card. Well, that's crypto mint right there. That's not the US dollar. It's another form of money that the US dollar is allowing to be represented and exchanged for equal value. It's a smart contract. So, I guess we'll see what rolls out in the near future. But how am I going to get these hypersales events and Web3 off the ground with this flash mob advertising? Oh, by the way, the flash mobs, when I get 2 or 3 or 4 groups together, the ones who are on site on URL, and I have a, really actually, what am I thinking about? Right, it's Web3, so even online, the avatars will be there. So we all run in, online in real life, sorry, yeah, IRL in real life, and we flash mob advertise each business involved in between the sets. And because of the crypto exchange, the advertisement for the business along with that flash mob advertisement is also worth money. So thank you to the law. Now, technically the social media platforms are going, hey, you're making it to where we're paying more. Technically, yes, but you have the option to pay us more. Plus, we have to be correct and make it valuable. So if I make it valuable and correct, well then I'm protecting the artist in the business. I'm giving that business a chance to be invested in. What if a big investor, especially outside the US, what if I have a IRL event in the US, and another investor outside of the US loves all these businesses. Say they have stake in a few of these businesses, or say they don't. Even so. So whether they want to invest a little bubble that they already might have a distant stake in, or they want to be a part of it altogether, I need that crypto exchange. I need that mint to come through and to be able to support that business. And if I'm smart contracting the flash mob advertisement, well, now it has an actual tangible value on the fly. Maybe lawyers are hating what I got to say. I don't know. It's working right now. Everything's working. This is great. So exactly that. That means that this helps the legal side. And there's already enough lawyers tied up with enough stuff. And we're going to need more. So either way, this really cuts the red tape here. See what I mean? Somebody can come in and they can invest in you. What if it's your business that we're flash mob advertising? And somebody across the waters, outside of our banking system, says, I like what you have. There's no red tape. They can throw crypto smart money at it right now. Boom. They give it to you. Guess what? I'm only taking a small percentage because it's an event. Otherwise, I take nothing. It goes straight to you. And then I can't hold your business or your money over your head and then wait to filter to you. You get it passed through. I'm talking S-Corp pass through, baby. Yeah. With crypto. That's what I'm saying. and then it gets passed to you, and all you do is withdraw it and pay your respective taxes on the flip. The biggest point of fraud is currency conversion and the time it takes to convert it. Fraud can happen in that point of transaction. It can't with crypto. It can't with a smart contract. There's no space in between for corruptible insertion. Period. That protects our money. So that's where right now there's a crypto that's anti-World Bank, which wants to bankrupt all of us. The whole Red Dawn movies about that stuff. They just didn't know about crypto then, but really put it all together. Very fair to say. So without freaking everybody out, but I think that's a fair assessment to say, this is why I fought for these exchanges. And we are such on the cusp of this precipice of the U.S. crypto dollar being invented, but I'm glad that the time is being taken, because I think the U.S. government and the Fed, the reason why I'm so proud of them and the reason why they're listening is they're giving us an opportunity here as the independents to come up, as the people, as the independent capitalist sector to come up with as many ideas possible, so the government's not forced to make a crypto. And that's the whole key to our freedom of the money. And I personally would love to see it in the form of a U.S. crypto, personally, with third-party minting options that follow antitrust. And if we can make it this far already, then it's only a matter of time before this minting available as option. And will it right now it goes both ways. Whether I mint to US dollar or I mint to a third-party crypto, either way it has to follow antitrust, because luckily the Fed is a private organization. So for those who freak out about the Fed, by the way, that's why it was created on Jekyll Island, in my opinion. I believe I'm right here, because by it not being created on US soil, that means the Fed, who prints our money, and the Federal Reserve Bank is a private corporation. They're always subject to federal law. They can't hurt us. That's why. It's not a conspiracy. It's only a conspiracy when the government owns the money. That's why they're a private corporation. And that's why this is very difficult. Because here we have a private corporation minting the US dollar, and now we have to deal with blockchain. So it changes the whole trajectory of the law internally, and we don't have 100 years to solve the problem with court case after court case after court case of closed, isolated, lobbied situations. And I want to use this horrible voice because that's how horrible and stuffy these people are in these closed circuits. They need the public sector to figure it out. Well, wow, haven't seen a disruption yet. This is great. So anyway, everybody knows where I stand now on the money end, and this should also help free me up from any more ambiguity that's out there as well. So I love you all, and without any tags of this, I'm not the rabbit here. I'm just Tim Howard on this one. I took the rabbit to another channel, on Instagram, even though it's me. But I did that for, if I make it a professional channel, then as long as I'm an artist or an announcer or a commentator, I can be really as taboo as I want, because I'm claiming to be that kind of person, like an artist. That's why we love music and movies and art. It's so we can be expressive and take the First Amendment to the fullest and not cause civil instability and liability issues. That's the whole point of fallacy stories. And then, unfortunately, though, it led to a lot of ambiguity with the law because people imply. I kept asking myself, why are people implying everything all the time? Why is it if I speak directly to somebody, everybody turns it into an implication? Oh, so what you mean is, no, I mean what I'm saying to you. I don't mean all these other things that you think I'm implying. I mean exactly what I am saying, period. Well, I can't blame everybody else for that. That makes me a moron. If I look deeper into it, well, wait a minute. We're all trained to think this way. This is part of the systemic stuff we're getting over. and many people get it. So I'll keep working on the rest. My commercials are almost ready. I got some of Aaron's videos ready. If anybody wants to see Aaron's videos, I was able to get almost over 2.5 hours of footage recovered from VHS tapes. I had it over 10 years ago. I rented a deck, and I had to rent them back then. Now it's so much easier, you know, with the tech, to get all this extracted off of the VHS tapes. And I finally have it out of the archives. I'm going through all the archives as I'm going through the business, and getting everything re-uploaded. So now I'm working on private uploads. See, with the NFTs, by the way, the smart contract, Aaron's footage. I have Aaron's footage with, you know, Ricky's first birthday, all this stuff. Well, if I smart contract it, I'm not going to sell her footage, no, but it really labels who it is. It really puts that stamp on it. It makes it authentic. It makes it valuable. It makes it the real one. If you have a copy of it, you don't have the real authentic copy. I think that's a big deal. If I made a family video for you, and you want to pass that on as a family heirloom, well, especially years later, like we invest in what Ancestry.com and companies like this to know about our lives and everything. So what about the ability to pass on? Imagine if 4, 5, 6, 7 generations ago, go way back, right? Imagine if we're 300 years into the future right now, and our generations past of now, then imagine they had the ability to smart contract it. Well, they're long gone. Things could have happened. Wild changes geographically with the planet could have happened, which could have offset and changed people and societies. And say it's 200 or 300 years later. Well, that real smart contract, provided humanity exists, the technology will exist with who lives. That means that your family heirloom, if it gets passed on, what if someone finds it and goes, oh my God, that's my family? Well, how do I know that's real? It's NFT'd. So it's 300 years ago. Yeah, that was really my family, and that's really who that was. And look at all the metadata here. And what if Ancestry.com is attached to it? You know, I can, now that's fair, third party. If you come to me and I say, okay, yeah, I should be able to pay Ancestry to give me the rest of your data because I have your permission, and then attach it to your multimedia production, that's fair. That's not improper outsourcing. But if I make the NFT, I shouldn't have to outsource that. But I'm going to be forced to. I think that's where it all comes down to. I don't believe I can write my own code and it will sustain the economic changes. I believe that the software companies, once again, the platforms, they're going to make that more convenient and available, as they should. And I think in less than a year, 6 months to a year, I should be able to mint to any platform and come up with a custom mint, and it all be accepted on Coinbase accepted wallets and be accepted by the Fed and exchanges. And then hopefully these platforms, these shows I can have, especially with these flash mob advertising on a personal level, then I can finally get them off the ground and I can bring anybody in. That's the whole point, is I want to really versatilize, and I want to make it really versatile. I want to see not just artists or bands. I want to see artists and bands and independent makers of things and businesses all come together. And then I think of, for example, well, God, I love the fact that you're all even still here. I love you so much. So before I wrap it up here, I'm sure you're all going to be busy. I guess the strip malls. And this is something I was keeping proprietary. Now I totally give it out, because I hope everybody starts doing what I'm asking to do. Because if everybody starts doing this, then all of you will want it, and then there'll be work for all of us, and you'll have what you want. So imagine I go to a strip mall and I get a few businesses together. Usually 1 or 2 businesses, they're in strip malls especially, are struggling unless they're under a big conglomerate umbrella, they're like everybody else. They're working hard. A lot of their money's going to their rent. They can't afford to invest in anything. And if I can get a bunch of businesses together with little or little to no investment with the way this model is going to work, then at best it's just a small investment from the companies until the money comes back in. That's really it. So, for example, I should be able to cut everybody a really big deal without saturating the market and hurting myself, and then in turn getting a bunch of people together that couldn't have the ability to have this production without hurting bigger business. There's no Robin Hooding going on. It's just the ability for this to happen, and it's at a certain level. And if they want to put a lot more money into it, well, then that's where I've taken my company and changed the way I do things, and I've been working on this a long time. But now I finally have it where I want it, so that way I can reach out to the other bigger companies, and that way I'm never competition, because my wheelhouse is really, really niche. And there's other people that do lights, camera, action. I just do things in a certain way. And that's what makes my value something, along with every other company. So when I say someone has a big investment into this, well, I can reach out to all the other production companies who are wind up really being a little different than me, that I've actually worked for many times over, which I plan to do so many times over again. I'm open for outsourcing always. But this way I can put them in place. So I'm not putting anybody out. There's no reason for a conflict of interest now with any entity. I can simply just plug and play. And then if anybody wants to invest in it, there's no red tape stopping anything. All of this comes down to the smart contract, because I need to be able to run in, flash mob these businesses, give everybody a good deal, and then in my mind, it takes outside markets, nationally and internationally, coming in, and it's going to take some spending going out too. It will. But as long as it's funneled inward, and then others can bring their products in too, as much as that's going to be threatening at first, and then it's going to be some shows to kind of work out the nicks and crannies of it, of course. But in the end, unless everything is just horrible, or we're in the worst depression ever, which is really unnecessary, then there will be commerce happening. And somewhere, somebody has money in all these businesses. Everybody's a part of a blanket or an umbrella somewhere. All of us. Whether it's direct or who we support. We all have to survive. It's all the same people on the planet. It's not like there's a bunch of imaginary people that pop up in businesses. So it's all the same community. World goes round and round, right? That's the good news. So that means that as long as outsiders can have some type of stake to the claim, then anybody can invest in it in any direction. It's non-linear investment. Anybody can support anybody. And once again, my real thought is that anybody who owns or likes the blanket or the conglomerate or the umbrella that they are seeing here, they can instantly put money back into it and refunnel it to themselves without fraud. That's what I think is a big, big deal, and that is why I feel the smart contract is so important, because like with the new JCPA Act of 2022, this is what's going to allow us to keep working independently without this government oversight, and terrorism can't disrupt it, or mobs or monopolies for that matter. And I just don't see myself coding my own mint without being taken out by another code at the end of it. Anyway, I love you all so much. Thank you for being here. And on a personal note, I'm doing incredible. I've never felt better. And being honest with myself, and not allowing myself to go against my beliefs and principles to make a dollar has really helped me stand up against things that I would just be complacent about or accept because I feel I'm being strong to make my money. But in the end, I can sleep at night knowing that I'm not a part of anything really bad. And then number two, I feel good that I've been very forward in the whole coming out process, you know, because aside from fighting the whole terrorism thing with it. The best part is I don't feel the need to have to act like somebody else, because I think that I have to, I have to work hard to act a certain way so I can be accepted, because I'm willing to do the hard work, and I don't feel like I'm the greatest thing, and I'm willing to be better. And I had no idea that was the one thing causing me to beat myself up and be hard to everybody else. So that's the one thing I've learned too in this whole scenario. So it is, the only thing that's damaging now is just the money in the economy. And I'm hanging on barely by a thread, but I know I'll get things paid back. And by not tanking my company, I hope to God I don't have to. I'm such on the verge of bankruptcy, but my name is still worth more. I mean, look, I'm still here. I'm alive. No one got me. No one was able to fully set me up. Nobody was able to take out my company and spread bad juju, if I could say that word. I'm sorry, it's an old word, but you know what I mean. Hope everybody laughs, because I mean that. Anyway, wow, I love you guys. You're still here. Anyway, I better let you go, because you're probably sick of me going, hello, and I missed the 5:30, but that's all right. I keep wanting to put a tagline on it. Okay, everybody. Okay, powers that be. Here's a voice that has been, at least from every single video I've seen about minting and being passionate and being true and straightforward without any agenda beyond just a straight mission. I haven't seen any other videos like this, and I hope that this will definitely assist in where it needs to go. I love you all. I hope you have a great new year. I'm going to keep working until I have some bucks. Love ya. Hey, is it going to work this time? Just want to see. Hey, how you guys doing tonight? I just want to go. Oh, trying to reconnect. So I guess this is the way that I'm supposed to look like things don't work for me or something. Okay, I'll take it that way. I'm going to figure it out. It only happens on Facebook. Why does only my channel get disrupted on Facebook? Oh, it's working right now. It's working good. I got love. I got love. I know you got love for me, Facebook. I know it's not you. I know it's third party. Talk to you guys later. Good evening, friends and fam. I finally get a break. Things are going much, much better. So lo and behold, I keep rushing and working hard as always, trying to get these sales done in the company and blah, 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 so I can run around trying to reconnect. Oh well, run around so I can start knocking on doors and making new stuff happen. And slowly but surely, as I'm fighting so hard to make sure things are changed so I can function and feel better and operate and know that there's going to be a future without it collapsing. Here, everything I've asked for, I'm just now moving on to business law, getting done with the criminal side of it. And here now the government has already put in place for the last 10 months what I'm just trying to reconnect. The government has put in place already what I've been begging for, and it's already working the last 10 months. So now the stack is starting to work for me very, very well, and it's making me feel a whole lot better. So number one, between now the business law is in place and the last 10 months of opposition of it, on top of who is able to do what and how things are functioning, it just goes to show that I'm fully protected more than ever before, trying to reconnect. And now, thanks to the laws, I can, what I've always wanted to do, like what I've been going to Chamber of Commerce for, which I'll be able to pay my fees soon with a few jobs that come in. I've been trying to get together with businesses, especially in this industry, and come up with things for the government to make life better for us, since this is a free country and we should be able to do this as businesses. And ironically, trying to reconnect. And ironically, that's exactly happened. And all of the opposition has been pretty much ridiculous, because it just goes to show how many people do not study the law. And this is where now I'm feeling really good. So all this time I've been taking, the reason why you haven't been seeing me out there, everybody, is I'm making sure I can be legal and be able to, not be negligent. try to reconnect, not be negligent. I care about the content I produce. I care about the laws that are in place. I care about how things are affected. I care about what I work on and how people are affected by it. And I also care about the laws that are changing with copyrights, everything else with what I do. So the biggest blessing in disguise really has been deleting everything off of my original channel and putting it back onto YouTube, because trying to reconnect. Because had everything stayed, boy, something really wants to disrupt me today. It's not you, Facebook. I already know it's local. I have so many identifiers. It's getting better and better and better. It's getting so much better, just nonstop. It really is. I love you out there. Keep working hard, bots. Keep working hard, everybody. Facebook, don't worry. Just like all the other platforms, I'm looking out for you. No BS. I need you. I need you. And you need me. And other people trying to reconnect. And you need me too. And you need other people like me. And of course, we all know that, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, getting back to it. So here, what's great about what I asked for is the government is literally giving independent journalism the ability to team up with other independent businesses that support trying to reconnect, giving us all the ability to team up. And as long as we follow the antitrust rules, we don't need government oversight. That is the most free, fair, and balanced approach I've ever seen. And it's going to allow everybody globally to be allowed, especially small conglomerates, to be allowed to have news conglomerates. Well, this is great. This is great. Because if anybody tries to manipulate it, well, we have bots. We have facial recognition technology trying to reconnect. We have the technology that not only keeps Facebook and Google and Twitter and Twitch and everybody and Amazon and everybody on top of the game, Apple too. It keeps American companies aren't going anywhere. That number one. Number two, now that's all that we need. It's already working for the criminal end, trying to reconnect. And for those who are still hacking me out there, I was forgiven the day my heart was restarted when I came back from my OBE in '93. And I felt those fingers touch my chest. So I don't need to be forgiven again. And whoever's going to show up with a bat in the middle of the night, good luck. This is great. See, those who keep pushing the criminal aspect, who keep using favoritism and nepotism in fear mongering, you're losing. You're losing the law. You're losing the ability to be a mob. You're losing the ability to be a cartel. And all of us small conglomerates, we're not falling. I'm not falling for the bait and switch. The cartels are trying to label like the new laws to support the cartels when really it's the cartels. And who's the cartel? It's not just all these crazy trying to reconnect. It's not all the crazy drug pushers. It's people out there like the ones who keep telling me to be quiet, who keep telling me that I need to be forgiven. And I'm glad people are reaching out. That's why I'm being very vague. Otherwise, I would be more direct. But it also explains why no matter how many times I've reached out to law enforcement, I never heard back from uniformed people. And that's okay, law enforcement. In the end, this is going to help you too. Trying to reconnect. This is going to help you too, because no matter who's going to try to make me out to be a narc, that's not what's happening. What's happening is the right verbiage is being put into place, so that way those who keep trying to make certain laws illegal to force you to hate people like me are the ones that keep abusing everything. And they have rights to things. And maybe you're the one logging in to see me now. So, this is incredible. I'm trying to reconnect. You're not going to stop my connection. You're not going to stop my company. You're not going to stop my intentions. You're not going to stop anybody else in this position. And the government's getting more and more savvy. The social media companies are working more with the government, and they're constantly protecting antitrust laws and giving us independents the ability to operate even more so long as we follow them. So no wonder why there's so much opposition out there. They want to hold on. They want to hold on to what they have. All this is because I got hacked and threatened repeatedly, and so many people want to cover it up, just like so many others that went through it. At least I'm one of the lucky ones that has a voice. It's the behaviors. But anyway, oh, they're gone. So, no matter what, it's a good day trying to reconnect. I almost have the rest of the security in place that I need because code is next. I'm down to code and minting. So thank you, federal government. Thank you, Senator Amy Klobuchar. Thank you, Senator Kennedy. And I also want to thank you, Senator Mike Lee. And I want to thank you, Secretary Pompeo. All of you had a lot of good things to say and put into it. And I think the debate was great. All of you had a lot of good things to put into it. And I think you're protecting social media companies every bit as much as myself. Because, I mean, I would have to intentfully have a scam to have a problem, so I don't have to worry about anything. I'm not going to work with anybody willing to scam anybody because, see, I'm not a narc. I pay attention. And that's why I'm putting this word out here because I'm assuming people say that kind of stuff. Because trying to reconnect. Why would they be against these laws or these things, or why would my channel still be getting hacked and everything else? Why? Well, it's because I'm telling the truth, and the government wants the right thing, and the big conglomerates want the right thing too. These are all people playing hot potato with the law and companies, and so not only did I fight for Mr. Zuckerberg, who was around a lot, I never fought for nepotism. Do me and Mark hang out and play Yahtzee? No, I don't know him, so there's no nepotism. We're benefiting from doing our jobs. And now I'm watching Elon Musk be very successful in an area that actually blew my mind, because I gave so much credit to the board, and I love what they did on a legal end to try to save the country. But wow, there's so many people just taking advantage of a company. Wow. But in the end, the investors will come back there and things will flourish. And then because of Twitter's success, it's going to make Facebook more successful, because Facebook, you already know, Twitter Spaces is a big push for Meta. So Facebook and Meta is prospering from Twitter. So no matter what, the better Twitter does, the better Facebook does. It is. And kind of vice versa, because I like the fact that, once again, Facebook is more of a home plate feel, and Twitter's more of a downtown feel, but I can get both out of either side. It's not like I'm missing one element over the other. I just feel like I'm on the right speaker versus the left sometimes. Pretty interesting. But anyway, everybody, I hope you're trying to reconnect. Everything worked good until it worked good, and then I had a phone call and it worked bad again. So there's so many patterns to so many behaviors, and I'm an announcer. It's what I've always done. I just haven't been around in a while. And here, I planned on using all of these abilities to speak, to do my commercials, trying to reconnect. Why am I being messed with? My commercials, my business, and to help others in the industry, things of this nature. And I had a movie set up, and here, I had to use it to stop terrorism. And I'm still seeding all of my work. That's why I'm smiling. And I'm only smiling because it's not funny. Everything is very critical. But I can only be so serious as far as being upset. I'm not here to be trying to reconnect. And by the way, when it comes to winning, that's all I'm really focusing on now, is steadily moving forward. That's all I've ever focused on. That's all I've been doing this whole time. But certain things have to be in place. I need to be sure of certain liabilities. I need to see certain behaviors. And my YouTube channel has to come back before I do my commercials. I need to show my work from a resume status and the different types of work that I can do. I need to show my resume status with my videos. I did start small and work my way up. I didn't just start out big in some conglomerate and take all the ideas and start my own company. That is not what I did. And I know some would love to say that. And I know that by the behaviors of some people. But no, that didn't happen. The only thing anybody can accuse me of is just being a little outspoken. That's why I did all the trying to reconnect. But the personal therapy has gone great. Because ever since identifying with myself and coming out, I don't feel the need to act like somebody else around everybody because I think that that's what I'm supposed to do. Now that it's okay and legal to be who I am completely, now that I completely know myself on top of it, this means I can be who I am without nepotism. This means I can complete what I want to do without having somebody trying to protect me from prosecution. This means those who have favoritism just don't have a leg to stand on anymore. So they might, I don't know, I might still be called out. I know I was told that you're out. What am I out of? I'm out of what, the industry, the business? Okay, whatever. Trying to reconnect. You're not going to hack me forever. And look at how quickly I recover. This is the goodness of bots. This is because I didn't break the laws. And cannabis is legal now. So that means that all the years of me doing what I had to do to use cannabis can't be used against me. And statute of limitations, well, when I was a teenager when I did hard stuff. So, and I was under the influence of people. So I wasn't some warlord cartel making a whole lot of money. And I was never a hardcore drug dealer. So there's no statute of limitations that can touch me on anything. And those who want to set me up for, slander, you can all keep lying all you want. I'm following the law. I'm not mentioning your names out in public. I'm not mentioning your names at all. Not one bit. Haven't caused a case. Nothing. Oh, now all of a sudden everything works right. Or maybe you got off the internet trying to reconnect. No, it comes back now. Let's see. Well, you're still watching. At least that's how I know. I can see the behaviors on everything. And bots, it's always round robin with the game of hot potato. Bots, you know what to look for in the routers with round robin. It's the age-old issue that's been solved long ago with IPv4 issues. Hot potato. The nefarious humans hide behind. They hide behind those accounts. But their behaviors are there. And as we keep marching forward with diversity and inclusion with the law, it just keeps protecting people, which means the bots you have more and more right to watch us and protect us and secure us, working for the platforms. The platforms deploy the bots. The platforms deploy the bots, not the government. It's not a control thing. That's how the security works. So I'm so looking forward to the Journalism Competition and Preservation Act of 2022. Really, really flourishing. And I'm looking forward to meeting other people who really care about good faith capitalism to push it forward. Hope you're all having a great evening. And I'm assuming the reason why I'm still getting disrupted is because I didn't stop and take myself off the internet. But I'm not breaking the law and I'm not lying to anyone. So I'm really tired of being violated. And I'm staying ahead of the game. I always have been, because it would have been too late and I would have never had a voice. But I don't deserve anything bad on me. At all. Thank you. Good night. By the way, Facebook, thank you for being willing to pull all the news if they don't meet the criteria. If you're willing to drop all the news media because of the new laws, that means they're not following antitrust. Ooh, I got a big trying to reconnect there. Thank you, Facebook, because It kind of threw me off there for a second. That was a big disruption there. But great job, Facebook. That means the news conglomerates, even myself, I have to make sure I follow your rules. Otherwise, we don't get a platform. And that's very fair. And if we do that, trying to reconnect. So that means that whether it's foreign or domestic, you have the right to monitor us and make sure we're doing right. That gives you the right to uphold Section 230 with antitrust regulations without breaking the law or disrupting our freedoms. Good stance, Facebook. Thank you. Hey, what's up, friends and family? 2023 is going really good so far. Just wanted to chime in and say I've rebuilt my footprint. I've gotten rid of a lot of my old videos, and I'm feeling much better. You know, this whole time has been pretty wild, and it's getting steadily better. So, I hope you like the newer versions of the videos out there. I'm steadily working very hard. In the meantime, I'm still here in the office, of course, rebuilding these systems on my own and doing the thing here at work, which is just mentally constantly putting in a new way of doing things that work. I mean, that's really the thing, you know, trying to be out here and be inventive to survive. So I love all of you out there, and you know, I'm working really hard on everything. Now that I've challenged all these, you know, things that are personal, it's been good, and I'm just here working hard on it. So I hope you're out here seeing me slow down, and I've erased a lot of the other videos because the goals have been achieved. So the last thing I want is to keep videos out here that are really intense. That was, of course, part of a purpose. And at least I'm still here. So I'm extremely grateful, and finally a cast that's steadily working forward. So everything's going good, everybody. And I'm just steadily pushing the footprint forward and making it work, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to jump back off of here and, as always, get back to it. I'm rebuilding my video repertoire resume on my YouTube channel. And now I finally have a TJX Productions channel. I'm pretty happy about that. The original channel, my channel, had the videos on it. And luckily, I'm so glad I took them down originally. I mean, not only would I have not been here on Facebook, which is great. Now I can sell tickets and do shows here on Facebook, which is incredible. But I'm having a chance to rebuild the channel within all the copyright claim policies and rules that didn't exist before when I originally had the channel. So at least instead of a bunch of strikes coming along and all these things, this has actually been a blessing in disguise. So everything really is steadily working. And as far as, you know, the whole analytics stuff, well, that's also why I got rid of the other videos. I'm not going to talk about that stuff here. Just enough to know that I did work hard to really make things safe. And at least all of you out there know I really do care. And if you don't, you know, none of this is about being a real, true social justice warrior to feel good about myself. This is all, of course, very real stuff, and I feel really good. And I've been very critical, of course, to a lot of people out there, especially the systems and everything else, and trying to figure things out. So that's another reason why I wanted to come back with another video as I steadily delete the other ones. It's not about, you know, erasing history, but I want to show that I'm improving, and you know, I'm not above anything. So I have to improve along with with everybody else, blah, blah, blah. No, everybody else, I need to learn to improve. So I'm steadily doing that. I'm doing really well, working with my health, and wish me luck, everybody. Hopefully I'll make a few sales here soon. I'm trying to just get these commercials together, but of course I have to fix the footprint and get my resume done, which is my videos. My hard drives are finally getting cleared. I don't have a lot of money. I just can't run out there and buy a bunch of new stuff all the time. I have to constantly recycle what I'm using, and you know, streamlining everything is really hard. It's easy to put myself out there to go to work, but then I don't want to get caught up into the gears of things like I always have been, trying to take on too much, or having, you know, the bolt in the gears, so to speak, just all of a sudden cause a lot of catastrophe. And for me, that's too much insanity. It causes me to have issues, you know, with my limitations. So I've been working steadily hard to make sure I have this new service. It's above and beyond trying to be something eccentric in the world, you know, with my stuff. It's also to make sure I can function and not go to the hospital or live on medication. That's the one thing I don't want to do. I'm doing so well with, you know, the epilepsy stuff, or that term that it's called, you know, God, it's been years since I've had just problem after problem. So I steadily am getting my greens, veggies, fruits when I can, and I always, you know, use high filtered, good quality milk and other sources like my Muscle Tech and stuff like that. I make sure I turn my coffee into a meal and, you know, water down the stuff like that. And I hope any of this kind of rubs off on everybody. But I really hope you're all having a great morning this morning. Those of you who are awake, if either way, everything's working. So this means I can just steadily be a lot calmer and a lot cooler. It means that everything was worth it. Caring is worth it, and standing and for real things are worth it. And I think that's the blessing in disguise of everything. It reminds me that life is more important than just surviving and making a buck. It's really about caring about other people. And I feel that the biggest important thing I've learned so far is being strong for myself is not really the whole point to life. I think so far right now, the latest thing that is presenting itself to me, the whole point to life that I'm, in my opinion at least, is to see if I can care about others outside of myself. And I feel that when it comes to getting over a challenge, over an issue, especially internally, whether it's a thought process, for some maybe it's addiction, and I say some, but really we all have addictive personalities. I don't like that word too much, but in the end, without going too far, I think that to get over those things, for me at least, I feel that I have to put somebody else forward. You know, whether it's Miko dog, knowing that I have a hairy son that I have to take care of, well, he's so important, he has to eat. So no matter what, I have to keep striving every day, because if I fail, he fails. He's relying on me. That's that eyes and that are looking up at me every day going, "Hey, Dad, what you got? You got a bone? You got a treat? I'm ready to go for a walk. Ready to go. Let's go." And he keeps me going. That's family. And number two, I know I can be very distant, but I care a lot about everybody. So I think of the family all the time. I think of everybody and everybody's family, but especially, of course, my own, because it's personal. And so without putting anybody else above anybody, I think of family. And I know I'm kind of reiterating that a lot, but I hope all of you are seeing this and knowing that that's just steadily what I'm working on. And last but not least, I'm just steadily being honest with myself. It's making me a much better person and helping me be a better contributor to this thing called life, because the better I am to myself, the better I can be to all of you. But it's not about me. It's about, it's about me as far as living my life, just like it's about you living your lives and all that. But anyway, not here to preach. Oh my God, everything is working. So this means I'll keep it going. Time to clear off the desk and get ready for my next little spot. I'm trying to find a way to make new commercials, and I'm steadily thinking about it over and over again, and reinventing the wheel on something that's already been done so much is really hard. And all it means to reinvent the wheel really is to try to be original at something. Anyway, here I am back at business. It's always business, business, business. Sometimes it's easy to elude what it means to be personal and just simply be a human being. So I've done everything I can, to get rid of the old videos that are really, really intense and make sure that I can steadily evolve myself, because if I can't try to show that I'm making progress myself, well, then I'm not really practicing what I'm preaching, and no one does it alone. So steadily, as I keep, moving forward, at least all of you know that everything has been so real, and it continues to be real, and I'll do my best to always stay real. and I'll keep always working hard to work on myself, so once again I can always be better to all of you. And that is my way of putting everyone else first. And I feel if I do that, it forces me to try to speak a little clearer, sit up a little straighter, and hopefully want you to appreciate me. So that's my way of trying to put my foot forward to appreciate all of you. And to everybody I've been very difficult to over the years, thank you for all of you who have been very forgiving to me. I have a lot of struggles. A lot of people do. And I think that's very normal for life. And if we don't struggle, are we really living? Personally, I don't think so. So if we're struggling, or at least have been, that means we've tried. And we're trying, and we're willing to fail and start over and move over and move on and blah, blah, blah. I say blah, blah, blah because I don't want to be over serious. Well, I've overstayed the welcome on this live, and there will be many more to come. It's good to see everything working. I love you all out there. I hope you're doing well today. Be safe.